All right, 7th graders, this is to help you with question 2 on your equation test review. It says solve the following equation for h. So I want to get h all by itself on one side of this equal sign. My first step is to move this constant, the number without an h attached, over to the right-hand side of that equal sign. So my first step is to undo this subtraction. What's the opposite of subtraction? The opposite of subtraction is addition. So I'll add 4. The reason I'm adding 4 to the left-hand side, because minus 4 plus 4 will zero out. Then I'll have a simpler equation here to solve. So if I'm going to do minus 4 plus 4 and zero the 4's out on this side, I'm adding 4 to the left-hand side of the equal sign. I must also add 4 to the right-hand side of my equal sign. Minus 4 plus 4, those zero out. So on the left-hand side, I'm just left with negative 24h equals, and on the right-hand side, negative 220 plus 4. You need to remember your integer rules. Signs are different. Find the difference. That means subtract. So 220 minus 4 would be 216. Then you say, what do I have more? I have more negative, so I keep my negative. I need to tell you that if you are struggling with your integer rules, I believe both teachers are now allowing calculator use. So please use your calculators. So here's our next step. We're trying to get h all by itself. You have to say, what's the operation between the negative 24 and the h? The operation between the negative 24 and the h is multiplication. How do I undo multiplication? I undo multiplication with division. To get h all by itself, I need to divide by whatever number h had been multiplied by. So I need to divide by negative 24. That will get our coefficient of h to be 1, and that's the goal at this step. So if I'm going to divide the left-hand side by negative 24, of that equal sign, I go to the right-hand side of that equal sign, and I also divide that by negative 24. 24 divided by 24 is 1. Negative divided by a negative is a positive. Positive 1 times h is just h. So that was our whole goal, was to get h by itself. Now, I don't have a calculator. You can punch negative 216 divided by negative 24 in your calculator, but I have to long divide. Negative divided by a negative I know will be a positive. Now I have to do 24 into 216. So I'm just going to guesstimate right now. If this was 25 into 200, that would be 8. So I'm going to guess 9 times. 9 times 4 is 36, put down a 6, carry a 3. 9 times 2 is 18, and 3 more is 21. Oh, I'm so glad it goes in nicely. So this would be a positive 9. Now for me, so this is my scrap work. Now for me, I always show a check. I think checks are powerful. I think checks are important, because if my check works, then I know for a fact that I solved my equation correctly when I got h is 9. Okay, so I'm going to substitute a 9 in place of h. So this says negative 24 times h times 9 minus 4, and I'm hoping that's a negative 220. So now I'm going to simplify this side of the equal sign. Negative 24 times 9, 24 times 9 I know is 216. A negative times a positive, that's a negative 216 minus 4 more. I'm hoping that's negative 220. Minus 216 minus 4 more. Signs are the same. I find the sum, I keep the sign. So I add 216 and 4. I get 220. All I have running around is negative signs. That's still a negative 220. My whole point in doing that check was so that I would know h is 9 is definitely the correct answer. On this test, if you show your checks with fidelity correctly, you'll know how you did on this test. You'll know whether or not the values you got for your variable are correct or not. All right, I hope that helps for number 2.